Asante sana. Members of the fourth estate, poleni sana, najua umetusubiri. I will just issue this statement. And then I'm accompanied by some of the members of parliament. Please just adjust that sound, it's too high. Are we clear on your side? Mko sawa? Asante sana. An estimated 60,000 people, mostly women and children, in Nairobi have been severely affected following the devastating flash floods which have hit the city. The areas which are adversely affected after last night's rains are Kibra, Lindi, Mathare 4A, Mathare North, Babadogo, Githurai, Mwiki, Kasarani, which is Kasarani constituency, a lot of the constituencies along our rivers. Our rivers have burst their banks, that is Ngong River, Nairobi River, Mathare River. We also have cases in Mau Mau, but all the rivers in the city, all of the 8 have actually burst their banks because of the torrential rains. We have also seen cases of trees falling in different parts of the city of Nairobi. This morning, together with the members of parliament and also local leadership and our different sectors, I have been able to tour many of these areas. Early in the morning, I was in Mathare. I have gone to Utalii Ward with Mheshimiwa Kajwang. We've been with Mheshimiwa Oloch. We've gone to Kasarani constituency. I've been in Mwiki. I've seen the situation in Infinity. Yesterday and the day before, I was in Mukuru, kwa Ruben, Mukuru kwa Njenga. I was in Kawangware. I've been to Gatina. I've also been to Kilimani, Elite Court, and many of these areas, and I continue to go there to join Wananchi and our teams, because we have agreed on what needs to be done. On Monday, we had a multi-agency meeting where we had all of the deputy county commissioners from the sub-counties across the city. We had all our sub-county administrators. We had the police, and even here today we have the deputy regional police commander, Mr. Chacha, who is here with us today. And we agreed to empower the different sub-counties to take interventions. There is no single intervention that cuts across. Every part of the city has a different need and a different response that is required. One of the areas of intervention that we have seen is the need for urgent installation of bridges. We have a number of bridges that have been swept away. There are bridges in Mathare North, John Saga, in Huruma, Gateway Bridge, Ngumba Bridge, 4B. There is a DP Bridge, Getaturu, Footbridge, Sarangombe in Kibra, where Mheshimiwa Orero is here. There's need to sort out the bridge there. So a lot of the bridges, the infrastructure work is being done. We have seen the effect of that, and we want to sort this out quickly before the schools open. For instance, in Mukuru kwa Ruben, the bridge that joins kwa Ruben and Lunga, many of the children go to school across on the other side, and they open school on Monday. So for right now, they are cut off. We have seen people who are completely marooned in different areas. I was with Mheshimiwa TJ in areas that might even need aerial support, because the rivers have taken their course and people are completely marooned. In Starehe sub-county, we've seen the issue of the bridge that was swept away yesterday between Kiambu, in Kamkunji, Kiambu, and Uhuru on the other side, and the need for urgent replacement of that bridge. We have our excavators, we have equipment all across the city, and we're asking the people of Nairobi to call the emergency line as soon as they have something to report, 1508. That is a number that we are issuing out. That is a number that is being used. Please call. I know there are many calls, so be patient, but your matter will be logged in, looked into, and even your call returned in case you don't get through the first time. And it's a toll-free number. Our team are currently repairing those that are repairable, but for others, we are just undertaking a quick response. Many roads have also been affected, including disruption of human movement and traffic. That is Mbagathi Way or Raila Odinga Way, Jogoo Road, Enterprise Road, Oleodume, Langata Road, near Timol, Langata South Road, the Eastern Bypass, and many others across the city. We understand that in as much as all the roads do not fall under the jurisdiction of the county, the people know the county. And so we're working also closely with Kenha and Kura and also Kera. And we're asking them to make sure that the engineers are on ground. We confirmed after discussing with Engineer Kinoti of Kura and Engineer Ndungu of Kenha that they have put their framework contractors on site, that they all go back to site to be able to sort out the flow of drainage within those roads. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the brink of a humanitarian crisis in the city. We have a large-scale coordinated response, together also with our partners, Red Cross, and we urge the people of Nairobi to cooperate with authorities. We have mapped out areas where people need to be evacuated, and we will be evacuating those people. We had asked people to move, and many of those were not able to move. There are those who encroached on the riparian. There are buildings whose walls are right on the river, and we will begin clearing those now, because it is no longer a negotiation. Those areas need to have been opened up, no matter how long they've been there. Many have been there for years, but no matter how long they've been there, the river always finds its normal course. There are areas like Gitwamba, Ndruai, Gasheko, Athi, Budalangi, where I'm from right now, Budalangi in Kasarani constituency, Mwengenye, Infinity, in Kasarani where I've also been, Mushawalami, Mathare North, the areas where we have seen with the MPs, along the river, Lakisama, Babadogo, Gumba area, in Sarangombe Ward, Gatwekera, Sokomoko, the Shofko side, Riverside, Soweto West at the footbridge, Kianda, Makina Ward in Vuma, the Raila informal settlement with around 200 people living on the river, along Gong River, Kanan Estate in High-Rise, Undugu area as well, the areas that have great encroachment. In Makadara, we have Gakuyo, Serial Board, Jamaica, Paradise, the areas in Viwandani along Ngong River, that is also affecting the industrial area side over there. Magunga Court in Buruburu, Zimmerman Ward, Kahawa. So there are all these areas that we are going to issue out the evacuation notice, and we'll move people to higher ground. Once that is done, of course, we have to provide for these people in the interim. So we are putting together food supplies, mattresses, blankets, dignity kits, hygiene kits, and sanitary kits for the women, emergency drugs, water purification tablets, and also education support, because our children must be able to go back to school when schools open next week. The Red Cross, together with our gender department, and I have the gender chief officer here as well, are on ground to protect children and to deliver safe water, nutrition, and health services and supplies. We've deployed more personnel from the shifts of the Green Army to ensure rigorous unblocking continues in all the 17 sub-counties, and we've moved the machinery to critical areas. All the emergency response teams, including Nairobi Water Company, our health, wellness and nutrition, mobility, disaster management, have been deployed to these areas to provide the necessary support. The meteorological department has told us that the rains are going to continue, and so we urge people not to wait to be moved, but to actually move themselves. Tafadhali msingoje kusongeshwa. Kama pali huko, jana kulinyesha, unafikiri leo ni safe, leo labda mvua itakuwa zaidi. So usisubiri kusongeshwa. Jameni, watu wasonge mahali ambapo wameelezwa na wale sub-county admins, assistant county commissioners na deputy county commissioners ambao wako hapo. Na pia tunahimiza watu wetu wafanye kazi na viongozi. Tuna MCAs ambao wako kwa wards, tuko na wabunge. Hawa wabunge wote na MCAs wanawajali. So ukiwaeleza msonge sio kwa nia mbaya, lakini ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunanusuru maisha yenu ili muwe sawa sawa. Shida ni mara nyingi maji ikipungua watu wanarudi pale kulikuwa. Mliona jana, mvua ya jana ilikuwa zaidi ya mvua ya juzi. So kama jana ilipungua na ikaisha mkarudi, mliona vile imekuwa. Kuna watu ambao hawajaweza kutoka kwa manyumba yao kuanzia jana usiku. But watu wetu wako katika sub counties. I call upon all agencies to take responsibility for their areas. I'm calling upon all the agencies, Kura Kenha, as I've said, we've been talking, to speed up the rehabilitation, maintenance and management of all the roads within the city. I've also directed the following as of today. 1, all private service providers of garbage and solid waste management to ensure that all waste is taken to the Dandora dump site. Wale watu wote ambao wanachukua takataka, zile kampuni za kibinafsi ambao wanalipwa na wananchi, wawache kutupa takataka kwa illegal dump sites ambazo hazijakuwa designated, wapeleke takataka yao Dandora. Wale ambao watapatwa wakikiuka, kwa mfano kule English Press, kule Diamond ambapo tumefunga, leseni zao zitafutiliwa mbali na magari yao yatashikwa. Those who go against that directive will have their licenses, the PSP licenses, cancelled forthwith and their vehicles impounded immediately. Ya pili, tumepiga marufuku excavations kwa sites, all sites, especially those along riparian areas, with immediate effect. All excavations along riparian areas and all excavations of buildings, especially those that have gone close to their neighbors. All excavations have been stopped forthwith because the structural integrity of the buildings cannot be assured at this time. We have also halted all pending development approvals. All building development approvals have been halted for now until we're able to review all those that have been issued and that are continuing across the city. All citizens are urged to remain vigilant, to macho, take necessary precautions to safeguard yourselves and your property, especially those living near the river banks. Na nashukuru wananchi. Area kama Ruben, niona wananchi wenyewe wanaondoa mijengo ambayo wanajua yako kwa njia ya maji. Hao wenyewe wanajua na wanajiondolea. Tafadhali ni bora muweze kujiondolea kabla kuondolewa kwa nguvu. Lakini itabidi tutaondoa. And that work begins and it continues to go on. We remain committed to addressing the challenges posed by heavy rains and flooding. It's a natural phenomena. The level of the rains we've seen. When the rivers burst their banks, we've seen it. And we're doing our best. We want to thank all other agencies that are cooperating with us. Asante sana, the police. Asante, the county commissioner and his team. And thank you to the members of parliament. Wacha niachie hapo. Labda tutachukua maswali 2-3. Lakini kabla hayo, labda wabunge ambao tuko nao wanaweza kuongeza mambo machache ambao wangependa kusema. Tuanza na Mheshimiwa Kajwang.
His Excellency the Governor, members of National Assembly and members of the county assemblies and members of the press. Today we have not slept. 4 a.m. we were right in the middle, in the eye of the storm. This really tells you that you can go to sleep thinking that you have your neighbor and you wake up and the neighbor is gone, or vice versa. You may be gone just like that. And so when we live in a city such as we do, we must realize that the more we live, disaster is just a knock on the door. His Excellency, we want to thank you for responding immediately that we called your office. You yourself came, and I do not know if the pictures are getting his boots. I was like that in a few moments. I just had to repair myself to be able to be presentable to the public. But this is the leadership we want. And I want to call on our leadership, wherever they are, all of us, that in this time of disaster, when wananchi are crying, when it has hit us, we must forget all the partisan politics, whether in terms of political parties or in terms of government, levels of government that we are in, so that we join together with wananchi to meet the disaster the way it is. Our response time in Kenya is still very, very low. The governor came, his response time was about, say, 30 minutes or so. That could be improved because the international response time should get to 15 max. But we are asking the national government response time. We want to show leadership. Government should now show us their face. We want to see top members of the Kenya Police walking around and assuring people that right now is about 2 o'clock. When it will reach 6 in the evening, what will become of the wananchi and their property? That is what those women are saying right there. And they are wondering, and the clock is ticking. And that can only be shown if top leadership is there themselves. Now, there is the executive, which is in the national government. And I appreciate them very much. I am informed right now as we speak that there is a meeting ongoing by the deputy president, understanding the riparian sustainable efforts and framework. And they are thinking of how to create commissions which are going to work around this riparian Nairobi water. We appreciate that effort because we need some people also to read and, kizungu mingi kuje. But I want to tell them that we live in Nairobi. My life is ghetto. And as well as they are talking about those beautiful things in Karen, we are in the practical field. Hiyo yao ni theory. It is academic. So they should put aside those good papers and come and be with us first of all. We want to see their faces. We want to see how much a deputy president empathizes with us. Just the fact that he knows that we are in problem. We are not asking for much. Some of us, we have consigned to our fate where we live in our socio-economic environment. But still we are human beings. We just want you to be there, not give us money. But the fact that you're saying, boss, I am your voter and I feel for you. That is all we are asking. That is all we are asking. And Governor, you have given a wide spectrum of interventions that you are going to make, and we appreciate. We are now waiting the implementation, because it is the implementation that will make the difference. And so we have confidence that these things will be implemented and we get a solution. So let us go together and give our people what they want. Human dignity, carefulness to the Constitution, making sure that our people are respected the way they are. I thank you, Governor.
Asanteni sana. My colleague Mheshimiwa TJ Kajwang tayari amezungumza. Mimi pia kama mjumbe wa Mathare, ningependa kusema kwamba janga kama hii, disaster, haijui kabila, haijui dini, haijui rangi na haijui chama. That is why wakati tulisikia kuna hii jambo na sana sana ina affect informal settlements zetu kama Mathare, wakati tuliambiwa tuje, we had to come. We have to put our other issues aside ndio tuweze kuensure kwamba watu wetu wanaweza kupata adequate response. Katika Mathare, ile statistics or information niko nayo is that kuna watu zaidi ya 1500 in terms of household. Hiyo ukipiga na household ya watu kama tano, you're talking about close to about 25,000 people wale wamekuwa affected. Kuna madaraja mbalimbali yale yamekuwa swept, they are beyond repair, and I am happy that the governor has said that there will be emergency intervention so that mambo ya kuprocure wafanye kwa njia ya haraka. Tuanze kuona madaraja haya yangu kama ile ya Tiga Bridge, DP Bridge, 4B ile ina connect mimi na utalii. Haswa bridge zote zile zina collect my constituency na Ruaraka. Zinatumiwa na watoto wakienda shule asubuhi, wamama wakienda sokoni, kama hiyo ya Mathare North Road kutoka John Saga ikikuja kuingia hapo Mathare North huko chini. Ile Gumba Bridge inatoka Mabatini inaingia kule 4A. Ingine inatoka 4B inaenda mpaka kule Ruaraka, na zingine kama Tiga na bridge kama hizo. Ya mwisho ile ningependa kusema, kwa sababu gavana na mwenzangu wamezungumza, ni ile humanitarian intervention. Tunataka watu wetu wa cooperate na sisi waweze kuenda mahali itatengwa. We hope that tutaweza kupata facilities za serikali, either NYS ama monetary, so that we avoid kupeleka hawa watu wetu mashuleni. Mnajua kwamba shule zinafungua Monday, na tunataka mashule ziwe mahali watoto wakikuja, we are not able to interfere with their learning. So thank you very much, Governor, and thank you very much, my colleagues, and we hope that our people can be patient and that help will reach, not just from the county government. We hope that help will reach also from the national government. Asante.
Oh, thank you, His Excellency, the Governor, Fourth Estate. I will be very, very brief. My colleagues have talked. You know, both of them are lawyers. So when you see Kajwang here and his sentiment. Now, I want to thank the Governor because today all of us, the three of us are leaders of informal settlements. Mtaani, hawa ni watu wanaongoza watu wa mtaa, and we have been affected. Our place have been seriously affected. Many households in Sarangombe and the river. There is a bridge which has been blown out, and the governor has assured us that they are going to make the bridge and also remove the other bridge which is bringing the water to fall back into other people's places. I want to sympathize, especially with the women and children. Most of these people affected are women and children. We are asking the government to come forth and help us to also relocate these people to higher grounds. So long as we still have these rains. We are happy that the governor has come out. We need the Green Army. I'm seeing him putting on the Green Army. We want the Green Army to be everywhere in this city. Let us feel the effect and the impact of the Green Army. We ask you to support those who have been affected so that we live well in this. Otherwise, thank you very much. We thank you and may God bless you.
Okay. We'll talk. Okay. Asante. Wacha tuwakubali wako na mkutano mwingine ya dharura. Asanteni sana. Hawa ni wale area zao zimeathirika sana jana. The informal settlements of Kibra. Tumekuwa na mheshimiwa Mawadhe pia wa Embakasi South ambaye alikuwa ameenda kwa Harambee, but tumezungumza na vile nimewaeleza nilikuwa hapo Embakasi South juzi. Tukimaliza hapa narudi Kiambio na Uhuru kuangalia what we can do. As we've told you, the bridge was actually swept away on that side. Zile reports ambazo zimetufikia ni tumepoteza wale ambao wamereport kwa stations ni vifo 3, lakini tuna suspect ni nyingi zaidi kwa sababu kuna watu ambao bado hawajapatikana ambao wamebebwa na maji. Na tunaambia familia zao pole sana, na ndio maana tunasisitiza watu waondoke pahali hawafai kuwa, and we are going to come to do that evacuation. So I think with that I can leave it at that. Nakaribisha mheshimiwa Mugambi. MCAs pia walikuwa kwa mkutano pamoja na wabunge wengine walikuwa kwa mkutano ya Nairobi Rivers ambayo is an effort that we are supporting as a county, and of course I had to go to the ground to be where the people are, and we will continue being with the people where they are on the ground. So tuachie hapo. Kuna swali moja ama mbili? Jina, tuombe jina, station na swali.
Good afternoon, Mheshimiwa. My name is Hilary Kuyo from Nation Media.
Thank you.
How many, you said there are 3 deaths and 60 affected?
3 reported.
3 reported.
Yeah.
So how many, how much have you tried for all this work that you said is going to be done? And second, There's a police officer who was swept a few weeks ago. Is there any hope?
Thank you. The police officer is called Chesire, and he was swept away, and I was there during the rescue process. Unfortunately, we still have not found his body. He was carried away, and you know how our river system is that connects up until Ruai, our Ngong River, Nairobi River, they all converge there and join the Athi. But we have not stopped the search, including the search of those who have been swept away last night and early this morning. There's a young man who was found in Kiamaiko. He was swept away from the Utalii side while they were rescuing actually others. And we found him this morning. There's a gentleman on a bike who we even have the video of him being swept away. He was on a motorbike. That is in the Clay City, Mwiki Bridge. And when he stepped outside his bike, he was actually carried away by the raging waters. The waters are raging. And that's why we're telling our people, don't dare. Let's not dare these waters. That unajiamini wewe unaweza kupita. In terms of how much is set aside, we have an entire budget. So there's no specific budget for the rains. When we're doing bridges, we have budgets under mobility. The emergency enforcement of bridges will be above 150. And it's case by case. The food that we're providing also has a different budget. So we can ask the finance team to give you a wrap-up, because once we know the full extent is when we can see how much will be used for that process that we have right now. And let's wait and confirm. Sometimes a family might report somebody is missing, especially children, but the child is with a neighbor or with a relative. So normally at the close of the day, all the DCCs, the 11 of them in Nairobi County, all our 17 sub-county administrators, they compile a report together so that we can confirm. Sometimes you get double reporting, that two people report the same death or the same missing person. And so until you have the full numbers, it's not good to just say. That's why we're giving estimates. Swali lingine, yes, KTN. Emmanuel. Yes.
Just two questions. One, this problem of flooding is perennial. It's been there all along the years. What are you doing to address it once and for all?
Yes.
Number two, you said you'll now start demolishing some of those structures in the riparian land.
Yes.
How soon?
The clearing of the structures begin immediately as we speak. That's why I have all the CACs and chief officers here, and the national government. We have the police to help us. Where the structures need to be cleared, they must be cleared, no matter whose it is. And that's why I have thanked those in the informal settlements have been more cooperative. But those higher up in Kileleshwa, in Lavington, in Kilimani, we will just have to use force, unfortunately, because it is about saving lives. And so we're going to do that. You're right, the matter has been perennial because you see our drainage system over the years, has been constrained. We have a constrained drainage system. But with the work of the Green Army, that's why when you saw during the El Nino, there wasn't much flooding, because the water didn't reach the level of rivers bursting their banks. If you look at most areas that flood, after the water settles, it flows. And so the drainage is flowing, but the capacity of the drainage is what is constrained. What we're dealing with currently, the crisis now, is bursting of river banks. And the river banks is not a drainage issue. It is rivers, and it is encroachment onto the rivers, If you go along, and you see many of our rivers, the valleys are what the informal settlements went into. If you look at from the 1948 master plan of Nairobi, the areas that were set aside as buffer zones between the river and the higher areas where the richer people took is where we have our slums and our informal settlements. That is where you have Madare in the depth of Madare Valley. That's where you have, Kibra. That's where you have Mukuru, along those valleys and the rivers. So the issue right now is not, the normal perennial issue that we have of drainage, but just the bursting of the banks of our rivers across. And that is why I've said we have halted all processes of development approvals for now, until we can review all of those that have been issued and where they are. Because we shall not allow any development upstream to affect lives downstream. It is not fair, it is not right. We've also said, and our enforcement is here, our building enforcement, all excavations and such sites, because of the rains, you weaken the foundation. I saw one photo in Westlands where someone's excavation is right next to the wall of a neighbor. With this kind of rains, with this force, you completely weaken the structural integrity of your neighbor's house, you know. And you cannot have a beacon-to-beacon excavation. You know, that is not allowed. So we must enforce. Enforcement notices have been issued. There are buildings, for instance, in General Madenge, where they are actually encroached completely on where the drainage is. In as much as the building has been there for a number of years, we're dealing with today's problem. So we shall deal with today's problem today, how it needs to be done. That path of the water and the flow must be restored. There is no negotiation about that. So nafikiri tutaachia hapo. Asanteni sana. Please, we shall keep giving updates. As we give updates, tunaomba ya kwamba pia mtaeleza watu wa Nairobi what to do and where to go. The sub-county administrators, the deputy county commissioners are issuing the notices as you speak of people who need to move. Once that is issued, tafadhali. Sasa pale nimetoka kuna mtu anasema ako comfortable hataki kutoka. And I've had to give a direction that lazima sasa atolewe kwa nguvu. Because wewe unaweza ona uko sawa. Lakini the level of the rain, the level of, you know, and that was at infinity. The level of the rain that we are expecting, haijui wewe uko sawa, itakuja na ikufungia hapo pale huko, you know. And so those are the efforts that we are making. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Please stay safe and stay well. Thank you so much.